Right, thanks very much.
Jürgen,
this is your very first press conference, and we are very punctual. For a change, a cordial welcome to everybody to this, the DFB press conference, and to all those in the digital world. This will be streamed live, so I would ask all the photographers to take their seats, thus enabling to everyone to see what's happening on stage. I would like to welcome Aki Watzke, our first Vice President, DFB President Bernd Neuendorf, and of course Jürgen Klopp. The very fact that you are sitting here on that podium is a slight indication of what's going to happen. It is a process that was stringently and consistently conducted, and that was approved by the decision of many a body responsible. Yes, thank you very much for coming here on the DFB at the DFB campus. Aki Watzke is going to add to my remarks later on. In the morning, we had a joint meeting of the shareholder meeting and the Supervisory Board. 26 days ago, Germany was bitterly eliminated from the FIFA World Cup 2026 in the United States against Paraguay. I'm very happy that we have finally signed and sealed the agreement. There was a unanimous vote of the responsible decision-making bodies for Jürgen Klopp to be appointed Germany head coach. And so we're quite happy to be able to introduce Jürgen Klopp and present him as the new head coach for the German national team. That was a bit of a strange noise there. Jürgen Klopp's inner circle, in inverted commas, will also be involved, and that too was confirmed. Peter Krawitz, Pep Leinders, and Sven Bender as assistant coaches. And again, they were approved unanimously by the decision-making bodies. And I think the general public perception is that with those people in charge, we have a very strong team enabling Germany to get to where it belongs. Allow me to make a few personal remarks first. We have had very intense talks, not just over there in New York, but also over here. From the very beginning, he was our preferred choice. And I think everybody agreed in their heart of hearts that there was no way around Jürgen Klopp was going to be appointed. So it was a target that we consistently pursued. And we made quite an effort to convince him, to lure him into the job. And as you know, it wasn't just the contract as such. There were many side issues, not least Red Bull as Jürgen Klopp's former employer and Jürgen Klopp's commercial agreements. Now, like I said, 26 days ago, I think we really put our foot on the accelerator to make things happen as fast as possible. Like I said, the personal talks that we've had with Jürgen Klopp confirmed our long-held view that he is the right man in the right place, and I think he's going to explain a thing or two about what he's going to do in the first few days. I think he is burning to fulfill this mission. He has great commitment, and that's what he is known for. You know, that he assumes mission and responsibility with 101%, with great willpower, with great commitment, and with great dedication. He's a great motivator, I think, somebody who makes players better, which is exactly why we have hired him. We aim for Jürgen Klopp to be here as on a long-term basis. The contract is running up until and including the 2030 World Cup, to be staged in Morocco, Portugal, the Iberia, and 3 games taking place in South America, Paraguay, Uruguay, and Argentina. So that's, as far as that's concerned, there is another human resources matter, another issue that the supervisory board and the shareholder meeting have discussed. The name is Per Mertesacker, a familiar name for everybody in the football community. He is going to take over from Andreas Rettich as executive director for all matters sports. So come January this year, or next year rather, he will be in that position. He too has come here, has introduced himself, has presented his ideas and objectives. So the decision-making bodies had a very good impression and were able to form a very good impression of, that he's presented his objectives with conviction and expertise. A final remark on Per Mertesacker. For many experts it was clear that Andreas Rettich was going to retire at the end of this year. So from the word go, Per Mertesacker was publicly handled as the successor. That said, Rudi Völler and myself have been involved for a long time now, and the truth is that it wasn't a spontaneous thing for him to be appointed. The truth is that we've discussed and talked to him and have been in contact with him for the last 18 months. So we had very early talks, and from a very early onwards he signaled that he was ready to, to assume responsibility. So we were in regular contact, and when the position finally was available, we intensified those contacts, and it emerged that he is absolutely raring to go. It's not just the men's senior national team, but also looking at the women's national team, the junior national teams, and importantly, the youth football and junior national team concepts. So all that will be guided and managed by Per Mertesacker, who will directly assume responsibilities rather plural, that Andreas Rettich has handled so far. So he will be introduced on a separate basis, because there is still a few months to go for Andreas Rettich to be in the job. So we're looking at, some 5 to 6 months before he will take the stage. The contractual situation that existed between Red Bull and Jürgen Klopp has been publicly debated for a long time. We've had intense talks with the Red Bull directives, and let me just say that I'm very grateful to Oliver Minzlaff. He was absolutely accommodating in all respects, and we fairly quickly agreed that there was honestly no way that Jürgen Klopp could do at the very same time 2 jobs at the same time. He couldn't be Germany head coach and Red Bull head of world soccer. So he had to concentrate on the Germany job first and foremost. And we, as I said, we quickly agreed that he would completely leave and retire from his job at Red Bull, so he can focus 100% on the German FA. In recognition of Red Bull's readiness to terminate his contracts ahead of time, I would really thank Oliver Minzlaff. But as I said, in recognition of that readiness, we declared that we would do 2 things that too was already in the press, but I'd like to confirm that. There will be a DFB donation to the Red Bull Foundation Wings for Life, amounting to 1 million euros. And secondly, until the year 2030, and we've agreed that to the city of Leipzig, the German national team, German men's senior national team that is, will play and organize 3 international matches at Leipzig. So that is our bow of recognition to Red Bull as an enterprise. And again, thank you very much for making this happen. Like I said, not even a month has passed, so we've covered an enormous lot of issue so far. Yeah, I'll be brief, because in essence you want Jürgen Klopp to come here on stage. It is a very special day today, not least because there's a whole lot of people assembled in this press conference room. Like I said, like has been said before, 26 days, a lot of things have happened, and a major compliment to Bernd Neuendorf. He had to pick up the pieces from a failed World Cup performance, and that was a very complicated and ungrateful task, but I think he's come out with flying colors. I was kind of smiling to know that, come on, the DFB from a very early day, you know, he agreed on Jürgen Klopp to do this job. And the thing is that nobody really said what went wrong. But before you introduce a new national team coach, of course, it would be stupid for anybody to not include him in the post-mortem of the World Cup. So I've gotten used to Germany treating issues on a very critical way. For 7 years, I was privileged to work alongside him as CEO of Borussia Dortmund. So, based on that experience, I know full well that while this is not exactly a club manager's job, he still has the capabilities to bundle all the qualities that he has and put results on the table very quickly. He's shown this umpteen times for the clubs that he's worked for, and I'm absolutely sure that we'll also manage to achieve a turnaround for the German national team. So it's a lovely day today, and let us just work to make this a day to remember for all parties concerned. Right, so we've talked a lot about Jürgen Klopp. Now let's listen to what he says. And how are you going to tackle your mission? Well, the thing is, while the press conference was scheduled to take place today, I really trusted in the decision-making bodies to approve my appointment. I mean, it is a great honor for me to be here. Over the last few days, it was almost like a movie happening to myself. You know, there's a million thoughts running through your head. Where am I coming from? What am I going to do? And I've always surmised that the job of Germany head coach is something big, but now it's really dawning on me what being national team head coach is all about. So if you look at where I'm coming from, it was really for many, many years, it was unimaginable for me to assume this position. I mean, as the years went by, it became more or less evident that sooner or later I would be asked to do this job. But then the very thought disappeared. But now I think the time is right, and I'm grateful to all parties concerned. And they approached me, we've had very reasonable talks, and I'm absolutely happy that we've put this behind us. And ideally, it is a path that we will all go together. And we need you as the media. So we all sit in the same boat, don't we? And there's a mission to be fulfilled. There's a mission to be accomplished. While I was in the football community, I haven't really been very active in terms of media contact. Not that I've missed it, ... But obviously, now's the time where I am really in the middle of media focus. And I was surprised, not negatively or positively surprised, just surprised how quickly news spread. And it's sometimes hard for people to think, well, let's just turn a blind eye to things and, not divulge any information precociously. Sometimes that is the right thing to do, and not publish stuff that hasn't really happened. I'm 59 years old now. I have always had my partners, co-coaches, co-assistants. And Per Mertesocker's job is not going to be about the men's senior national team alone. And the same can be said for me. I know full well that this is job number one. It is my mission to make the national team squad a better team, and I hope that the pool for me to choose from will be bigger. But it is not something that I will do against you, but I'm doing it for you. It is an honor. I will be remunerated very graciously. And if tomorrow Jürgen Klopp is SHIT, then I'll be gone. So, but if the DFB says that, come on, let us discontinue the job, then that's it. And if you behave badly and don't let my family in peace, I'll be gone. I just turn away. I mean, I know that there are other countries where national team head coaches are treated even worse, but I am always, I love this job, but I'm always ready to just call it quits if need be. So all I'm there for is the issue. Jürgen Klopp is not going to have any career, in inverted commas, after the national team. This is the pinnacle, the absolute high point of my footballing career as coach. I will give everything I've got, and I have, from my point of view, I have the best possible assistant coaching team. Bernd has almost completely enumerated them. Well, let me just explain who I mean. Pepijn Leinders, with whom I have cooperated for a long time at Liverpool Football Club. And he, too, is a fantastic coach and is dying to do this job. Peter Krawitz, I've known him for almost 30 years now. He has my full confidence, and over and above that, he has a super quality. I have never hired a friend. I mean, I have many, many friends, but almost none of them works for me. But some people working with me become friends. Sven Bender, I've taken on board for various reasons. And I've already explained, that I met the supervisory board people. I read that he would quit from Unterhaching. He is in the 4th division. He was a national team player in his active days. I mean, not with super many caps, 7 to be precise. And there will also be Mark Kosicke, whom you know as my personal advisor and manager. And he is my assistant coach for strategy and innovation. Many people said, that changing a face at the German national team is not enough. I mean, it's not just about one person. We have to play better football. I mean, that's the goal number 1. But many other things need to change, and that is exactly what you need additional people for. We want to leave no stone unturned here at the DFB. If there is anything that needs to be adapted, changed or deleted, then I would do exactly that. So my main mission is to help the national team, to assist progress. And if that happens, then we're going to do exactly that. So it's all about jointly working to lead the DFB into the future. I mean, there are many areas that we can copy the French or the Italians or the Spanish or the English. We can do this, but ideally, all these nations will, in a few years' time, turn around and say, look how the DFB has done. That's exactly how we've got to do it. So this is the moment where you have to check very diligently and precisely what needs to change, what needs to be intensified. Yes, play better football, okay, that's one thing. But at the end of the day, you have to invest more and look at all surrounding aspects and maybe change things that will influence the football of the future. I mean, look at this World Cup. I've had a few weeks' time, and I've made a list of names that I would like to know more about. See, players, managers, and I have a list of 57 players. Sometimes if you look at the national team squad, the populist notion is, well, we haven't got any good players anymore. We need a Haaland, we need an Mbappé. I mean, the complete development of German national team football has gone downhill. But that's not how you should look at it. Yes, there are a few things that need improving, but we, as a team, will represent a package. I have never been a coach who just goes through the motions, puts players through their paces and then drives home. That was never my style. I've always felt responsible to be a representative of the club, in this case of the association, to be there for everybody and everything. So I would like to embrace all of you, the fans, the public, the football community at large, and I would like to make all of them happy and not take myself too seriously. So I think the older ones among you know that I am anything but perfect. Sometimes I am wont to give stupid answers to stupid questions. But I would like to embrace everybody. Everybody is super cordially invited to join us in this mission. I mean, we have a few weeks' time before the next FIFA international match window. That is, I think, hopefully sufficient time for me to prepare. But we're all ready to go, raring to go, in fact. And if there are any more questions, I'm quite happy to open the floor. Well, I haven't really dared ask whether there are any questions, but fire away. Günther Klein here in the middle. Jürgen, you are the 13th Germany head coach. Who do you have, you know, as a kind of role model? And how is your everyday job going to look like? Will you be here working from an office here at the campus? Or will you be also traveling to watch games abroad, you know, because they play for, say, Spain or, you know, as the Spanish clubs or the Premier League? Well, truth be told, I haven't really thought about a role model. From what I know is that Helmut Schön has also lived in Wiesbaden. Franz Beckenbauer, I absolutely loved him for everything that I've gone. Rudi Völler is definitely someone I need to include. Well, first of all, I think the number 13 is surprisingly small. So with 125 years of history, or 126 years to be precise, only 13 head coaches is a very, very small number. So let me give time to think who could be my role model, who has developed his team the best. So just give me a little time. So as far as my everyday work is concerned, I don't really know, to be brutally honest, what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm quite happy for things not to begin tomorrow. I would absolutely overtasked and out of my depth. I mean, there are plenty of offices. My place of residence is near here. Wiesbaden is just 30 minutes drive away from Frankfurt. I would definitely observe games and go to matches, especially in those countries where our national team players, you know, win their daily bread. I mean, as far as matches are concerned, I've watched an awful lot of games over the last few weeks, i.e. World Cup. And it's always great to be in personal contact with players. I don't ever watch a game focusing on one player alone, or two or three. But what I will be doing is, you know, get into contact with players, meet them in the flesh, and transmit my ideas. So that is my first and foremost task. If I can meet them here in my office, in my yet-to-be-created office, fine. But if it means for me to travel abroad, so be it. So that is all I can say about what my daily work is going to look like. I've always tried to do more than absolutely necessary. So I will just try and do everything right.
Ja, hallo Herr Klopp, herzlich willkommen. Sie haben einmal ganz kurz schon
Mr. Klopp,
Ihren Vorgänger Jürgen Nagelsmann.
You just mentioned your predecessor, Jürgen Nagelsmann. You're coming from a very special situation as a TV pundit at the World Cup, where you were asked to rate your predecessor's work. Has there been any exchange? Have you met him? Have you, done a kind of World Cup post-mortem? No, there hasn't been. We haven't had any exchange. Jürgen Julian Nagelsmann was, I think, 39 yesterday, so happy birthday. So when I said that Jürgen Nagelsmann is doing the team ... still, that was just a joke. It was one of the, in retrospect, one of the worst, funny, inverted commas, remarks that I've ever made. And I feel awfully sorry. I've, apologized a million times. It was just a rash thing to say with no ulterior motives whatsoever. And I can only wish him the best. And I think now that the chapter national team is closed for him, he can go on to pastures new. And I am absolutely sure that he will have many, many opportunities to coach a big team in the future. We've already discussed the different terms and conditions for a national team as opposed to club football. Will you also teach club football matters to your national team players? He says, hesitatingly. I mean, if we've watched World Cup matches, I mean, it could have been a bit more intense, let's put it this way. I think what we need to achieve is more intensity, more work, harder work, more running, more dedication. Counter-pressing is a key issue, has always been a key issue for me. Good team organization and a very clear match plan. So you have to make that recognizable. I mean, at the German national team, we will not man-mark anybody. The funny thing is that some of the best teams do play man-marking system. So so at the World Cup, what I see is that the back four has won, in inverted commas. So any teams that will actively approach a game and teams that were able to win the tournament played with a back four. That's what I'm going to do. We will also play with wingers. Every team is able to narrow the pitch, so the only possibility is to make the play wide and use your wingers to the best of your abilities. So that's how it's going to work. Players will be given an opportunity to shine who maybe haven't heard about the national team at all, and they will be given their first caps. So what I'm really looking forward to is working together with young players, or players generally speaking, that play a football that everybody loves. And that doesn't necessarily mean immediately successful. But even with the German national team, I want to create a situation where spectators go home after the game and say, wow, that was cool. And for us to achieve that, you need a few things. So I mean, Jürgen Klopp doesn't automatically mean, wow, Jürgen Klopp is in the job now and we're going to be world champions. No. I mean, success is performance versus expectations. I mean, I think we need a new set of expectations. Many people have asked themselves, are we as good as France? And if the answer is no, then that is not necessarily true. If the answer is, do we have players like Dembélé, Barcola, Dembélé, Mbappé, do we have those players at the same number? Then the answer is, no, we don't. But we can still beat them. So we don't want to play like Argentina, like Spain, like England or like France. We want to play like Germany, do it the German way, but very intense. Are we #1 team at the moment? No, we aren't. I readily accept that. And so, would we be happy to be #2 team? And then people will say, yeah, we're #2, why are we not #1? I think at the moment we have 11 teams ahead of us. And yes, we can beat them, but for this to happen, you need to play very good football, you need to play intense football. I haven't really watched very many games that are not part of a major tournament. I mean, we want people to watch the national team play. We want people to say, wow, it was worthwhile putting the TV on for 90 minutes and seen Germany play. I mean, I've lived and experienced how football can change a city. And I think it's not just about cities, it's all about a country. Football can change a country, ideally. So we can create a better team spirit, a better mood, but we also need a certain degree of patience. So when we play on the 24th of September away to the Netherlands, I will have met them for 4 days. So that's a very short space of time. And I'm afraid you will ask me, well, are you ready with the progress achieved so far? Then I will turn around and say, well, yes, kind of. But the players have to show me, not just say it, but show me that playing for Germany is a super special thing and I will give everything I've got. I mean, your task as the media is try to understand what I say. If I talk nonsense, then I talk nonsense. But I would really ask you, I implore you to try and understand what I say. If I talk to a player, but I haven't talked to player B, then you will call him and say, why hasn't he not talked to you? It is impossible to do justice to everybody right from the word go. I don't really know. If I close my eyes for just a few seconds and try and imagine that Germany are world champions in 4 years' time, then it feels great because I have a power of imagination. But if all we do the same thing at the same time, then the neighbor that you hate will no longer be such an asshole, in inverted commas. So it's a kind of self-hypnosis. I mean, of course, it is not an automatic thing for Germany to become world champions in 4 years' time. I mean, there are so many imponderables, you know, ball hits the crossbar, doesn't cross the line, hits the post. I mean, there are so many other important things like football. At the World Cup, football is everything that counts. I mean, here a team is eliminated from the World Cup, and that's for here in Germany, for example, there's no need for people to worry, are they going to be safely home? So I am really raring to go, and if you do, then well, I have a feeling that you have missed press conferences in a way, haven't you? Jürgen, you said that some players may not even know that sooner or later they will be invited and called up. Let us talk about the position of right back. Joshua Kimmich plays. Have you got an idea of whether he will stay in that position? Or if not, if you talked about wingers, who would be your preferred wingers? Well, first of all, I need to actually meet them and get to know them. There is absolutely no way for me to say that I will never, ever again put Joshua Kimmich as right back. I need players who want to give their all. And the minute they put on that Germany shirt, that they play even better. I've never worn the national team shirt, that is. And we changed shirts after one friendly game, and we had to re-change them back because there were only one set. So I absolutely understand, players with 100 caps. Once I was at the other side. I used to not like international matches because that meant players were away from my club team. And if somebody says, well, you can't call him up because he's done 4 matches in a row and he has tired legs, and I say, fine, I will say fine. I will not fight tooth and nail to be able to call up that player. I will listen to the club coach. And if somebody is injured, I mean, that is going to be my task. Think about the best possible squad to call up. I mean, I have so many ideas, and I would only confound you if I explained them all now. So everybody is legally entitled to play for the national team, should really try hard in order to actually make it. My door will always be open. I mean, I will not going to say anything today. I will not going to call anybody up today. Neither will I write off anybody today. Why should I? So what we need is players who are dying to play for Germany and will perform to the best of their abilities. That's all we want at this stage. But can I still ask about Kimmich? Is he going to be right back from now on again? Well, let me just keep this option open. I don't want to commit myself too early. What I can say is that yes, Germany will have a right back. Full stop. Fans and the national team is a relationship that has kind of suffered over the last 14 years. But that doesn't have necessarily to do with results, but with the way the national team has presented themselves. Some people say that the German national team doesn't matter to me at all. Some people say that they have, lost contact to, the simple men in the street. What can you do for the relationship between fans and the national team become better, closer, more cordial? Well, I want people... I think the force of football is all about bringing people together. I mean, that's an old cliche, I know that. But I've just come back from the World Cup, and if I look at, I think this position is the best, added training measure that I could ever fulfill. I mean, I really needed to watch games, and what I can say is that the atmosphere in the stadium was incredible. And if the performances on the pitch weren't really as good as people thought, then the mood in the stadium was just mediocre. But generally speaking, I mean, I know perfectly well that not everybody in the US was aware that there was a World Cup going on. I know this. But why should people be interested in everything under the sun? You just have to take it in your stride. So look at the games. There was absolutely no reproach. This World Cup was taking place in an excellent and first-rate atmosphere. And football has presented itself in the best possible way. There were many nations, Colombians, Mexicans. Mexicans alone were absolutely incredible. So we are living in different times and difficult times. So football, I think, has to grasp that opportunity. And football has the force to make people's lives just a little bit better and to unite people. That's a chance that we have to grasp, take the bull by the horns, and do everything we can. So, I think if you see the German national team, and I've looked at the individual names, I think the 36 players called up were actually quite good. We have plenty of talent available. And each and every player was absolutely okay. I mean, we are under 17 world champions. And I mean, all of a sudden, now with Germany having won the under-17 World Champions title, they are 2021 now. So those players are out there, available, waiting to be called up. In German football, I think the general thought, the general argument should be, how are we going to make our youth teams play? Shall we make them play to become world champions in about 3, 4, 6 years' time? So Germany is full of talent. The minute more people and more players are available, then the people at home will come back. I mean, the level of expectation here in Germany is enormous. And Julian probably said, and I didn't see that word at that press conference, but people, and Julian Nagelsmann said, we want to be world champions. And had he said, well, we're going to be through to the quarterfinals, I mean, all hell would have broken loose. Because they would have said, oh, he is underestimating himself, he's underestimating his team. The thing is, we need time. We need patience and time. People, for their own little things, give themselves time. And they say, oh, okay, no, I think it over, and then I go to the task. But outside, generally speaking, people expect everything to happen right now, without just a single, minute of a break or thinking things over.
Zumindest mache ich nach bestem Wissen und Gewissen. Das kann ich versprechen. Matthias Dersch. Ist der Schnurrbart wieder im Kommen bei der
Sorry, ja, wir sind hier die Fraktion hier außen.
Well, there are obviously people are wearing stashes these days. You've already talked about patience. In between international games, there will be precious little time. And what about your patience then? Mark Korsicke, Per Mertesacker, the names have already been named. How deep will you go in terms of DFB structures? Because you know Hannes Wolf, don't you? Number one was patience. You used to be a full-blooded coach as a club coach. I know it's a discussion that people love having. That the difference, the eternal difference between club coach and national team coach. I mean, I've been on pitches for so many days, and I think having close contact to a team is not necessarily about working with them day in, day out. So I will have, in some games, it's just going to be 30 minutes, 50 minutes, or an hour. and that will be on the pitch. But as far as the national team is concerned, I think all of them have a mobile, and I will talk to them, listen to them, watch games, and give them my feedback. That too is part of my contract. That too is development, developing players and making players better. I mean, Luis de la Fuente has been working with them for the last 20 years. I mean, that of course is an amazing achievement. I mean, the actual work on the pitch is something that you can't change. Of course, it'll be much, much less than with the club, but I don't think that I'll be missing it too much. So I will not, I haven't prepared 800 training sessions, and I will go and tick them off as the weeks go by or months go by. And I will talk to players a lot. What was the second part of the question again? How deep you will change structures? Oh, very, very deep. Anybody who appoints Jürgen in whatever kind of office or position, then he knows what he's going to get. What you see is what you get. It's the old principle. I mean, national team head coach has a firm parking spot. Am I going to get a parking spot? Well, great. So that car parking space will be occupied for a good stretches of time. I mean, I've followed these, discussions over time. I've observed it, and many times, head coaches were accused of not going to games. And in other countries, extremely successful coaches didn't even know that they had an under-21 team. I'm not talking about Germany here, other nations. So at the Super Cup, Bayern against Dortmund, I mean, Bayern don't need to fear that I will only ever invite Dortmund players from now on, simply because Aki, Watzke and Sven Bender are part of my team. Or that I would only ever call up Leipzig players. Nonsense. So I really want to make things better. I would like to portray the German national team, even without the World Cup title, in the best possible light. So as you can see, I really love to go, but it's only in 2 months' time we will play. And at Holland, so I will probably meet many of my ex-players. So I will use the time, support everybody to make the best possible decisions. That's what my job is all about. Enable people to make good decisions. So I believe 100% in what Bernd Neuendorf and Aki Watzke are doing. So, beginning to work for change. That's what my first few days are all going to be about. The international match window now has 4 matches in a row. Is that good or bad? What do you think? And how are you going to approach those games? So there'll be a kind of balancing act between quick success and Euro 28 in a region where you're just coming from. Well, as a club coach, a position that I've had in my earlier life, and when the Nations League was introduced, I thought, oh my God, who hit on that idea? There'll be 0 time for friendlies anymore. Yes, there is a balancing act between development on the one hand and performance on the other. I mean, we're not going to be indulging in a wild kind of casting. Germany's next football star, if that is what it's all about, then fair enough. So I will see what players are best. The thing is that with 4 games in a row is very short time. So there will be solutions. I have a few ideas that are floating around in my head, but they are not ready for print yet. So we will not use 11 people and just whip them through all 4. I mean, obviously, there will be a very broad squad, you know, where we're going to meet Greece here at home, meet Serbia at home, and play away to the Netherlands and Greece. So the players that I have observed, I met them on YouTube. So the important thing is for me to be logged into a system. I've worked in England for 9 years. And when I went away, some of the players were playing under 16 football. So while I've watched a bit of Bundesliga over the years, I need to have a much, much closer look. Anybody who puts his foot on the accelerator will love playing with me and for me. I think the most surprising HR choice is Mark Kosicke, your advisor and manager. What exactly is his role going to be? Will he be 100% working alongside you? And maybe Bernd Neuendorf can address that. Yeah, with the contractual relationship, Mark Kosicke and you. Right. From the beginning, and where we had the very first conversation, we learned that Mark Kosicke is a very important person in his life. And I think I don't even know how many times we've talked over the phone or sent text messages to each other. So they are very tight. They're very close, and it was obvious from the beginning, from the word go, that we only could get Jürgen as part of a package. He called him an assistant coach for all matters at administrative management organization. So that's the role that Mark Kosicke, that's as far as we understand, and that's how the contract has been modeled, will be assuming, not necessarily as a DFB member of staff. But that said, he has every access to the association. He has every possibility to address team issues, coaching staff issues, and he would be a key interface person as far as team, communication, sponsorships. So all these issues that the coaching staff will be involved in, I mean, away from the actual things that happen on the pitch, that will be Mark Kosicke's sphere of responsibility. So Mark Kosicke will deal with these issues. He will be a very close link. He'll be closely tied to the DFB, so he will be involved in marketing. He will also be I'm absolutely accessible for all matters that Mark Kosicke raises, and I will listen to his voice in order to learn what the coaching staff wants and what the coaching staff thinks are indispensable. So actual decisions will, of course, be made by the decision-making bodies here at the DFB, but he and Jürgen can be sure that we will meet with pleasure every objective and fulfill every wish that they have, because we share the same objective and the same goal. So I think it would be a very good and fruitful cooperation. I know that there are plenty of questions. Let us have 3 more to go and then call it quits.
Bitte nicht warten bis zum Schluss.
Jürgen, kommen wir mal zu den wichtigen Fragen.
The important questions. Like I said, it's a major honor for you to be appointed Germany head coach. Are we going to see you in a suit or in a tracksuit on the sidelines? Truth be told, I haven't really thought about that. A suit and tie? Probably not. But I've gotten older, so have you, and let's just see what we find. But tracksuit is unlikely, because that was a long time ago. And over the last 2 years, I've had a chance to find new clothing for the task that I was given. So I think I'll be wearing business casual. In the early days, the national team was viewed differently. You as a club coach, that is. Now that the issue is at hand, what people will you be exchanging views with? Who will be your partners to gain information? Well, I've met many coaches in my lifetime, and some of them became national team coaches for their respective countries. So the club versus country issue, generally speaking. Everybody needs to be challenged in a way for him or her to become better. I mean, I'm not the kind of guy who will just call up people. I want challenges. I thrive on challenges. So is my coaching staff. And over the years, it really became clear. I mean, I think my biggest strength is probably for me to know where I'm not really good at. So some people, some things I can manage and I'm reasonably good at, I know that. I've always implemented the things that I want to happen. But I wanted for us to present the perfect package, not just make things easier for me, but present to the DFB the best possible people that the association needs at this stage. So people have always, people from outside the DFB always say, well, you need to change the DFB structures. The truth is that I don't really know the DFB structures yet. So first of all, I need to familiarize myself with the as-is status and then go about changing things if necessary. So my coaching staff and I row in the same direction, sit in the same boat and row in the same direction. And that's what it's all about. So we need to perform to the best of our abilities as a team. That's the thought behind it. And just how a Germany head coach job is going to happen, I don't really know yet. It becomes clearer by the day. And I've now known my most important co-workers and colleagues, Watzke and Neuendorf, that is. So I need to know telephone numbers, I need to be put in the know. So I'm still at the beginning of a learning curve, let's put it this way. Rudi Völler will also be part of your team, will he not? What are you going to change as far as Jürgen Klopp is concerned, and what kind of exchanges will you have? Well, he is part of the coaching staff with the most caps. I mean, Rudi Völler will be a crucial point of contact because I want to know everything from him, how things work over here, what the routines are like, what are the necessities, what are the do's and don'ts. So I'll be really spending plenty of time with Rudi Völler to know how things work. So I will, run ideas by him and ask him for his view, ask him for his views on life. He is going to smile and grin at the right moment, but he will also be furious at the right kind of moment. So I really look forward very much to cooperating with him. And he has so many anecdotes and old stories to share, and I'm dying to hear all of them and benefit and grow as a person. As a player, I absolutely loved him. And I've got to know him, got to know and respect him. And working together with Rudi will be great. Rudi Völler is an ideal remark. Rudi Völler, please come up here on the stage. Anybody who wants to be part and parcel of Germany's next international commitments, there'll be tickets available as of Wednesday next week. Thank you very much.